I'm Mel Barrett, and tonight on Newslight, we're cutting through the smoke. As of this morning, the House Oversight Committee had to subpoena Pam Bondi just to stop the DOJ from erasing the Epstein Files. 47,000 records have already vanished. Is Operation Epic Fury really about nuclear red lines, or is the ultimate distraction? We have to ask, did Donald Trump push us into war to incinerate the evidence of elite depravity before the public could see it? When Tehran burns, the headlines shift. We aren't letting them shift tonight. Joining me to discuss the optics of power and the fight for transparency is a New York City legend. Our guest, Marti G. Cummings, is a 16-year New York City drag staple and a powerhouse of activism. From selling out Lincoln Center to serving as the 2025 Grand Marshal of New York City Pride, Marti's career has spanned the heights of nightlife and television. But they are more than a performer. They are a history maker. Marti was the first openly non-binary candidate for New York City Council, a journey captured in the documentary Queen of New York. They've moderated panels at the United Nations, advised the New York City Nightlife Board, and currently serve on the board of directors for the Ali Forney Center. Let's welcome our guest. Marti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Marti. How are you?
Oh, baby, what an intro. Oh, sorry. I just got something in my eye as we were talking. Sorry. Woo! Okay. Hi.
There's so much going on. Hi. So this is our first time meeting, really, but I know a lot about you from Ellen, who is a good friend and a good friend of yours. And I was so excited to have you on the show because I love the work that you've done in New York. Do you want to tell us, before we get into the shit show that is happening right now in our country, do you want to tell us a little bit about the political activism and what you do in New York City?
Yeah, so I love Ellen. I'm so happy that she connected us. Yes, I've been a drag artist full-time as my full-time job for 16 years, which is crazy. It's the majority of my adult life has been as a drag performer. And I've had the great honor of speaking at the UN, like you mentioned, and running for city council, first non-binary candidate to do so in the city of New York.
Amazing.
I'm currently an elected state committee member, which is a party position. We help to shape the platform of the Democratic Party in the state of New York. And the Democratic Party in New York, I think, is more center than it should be. And so I'm on the progressive caucus. Sorry, my dog is.
It's okay. We welcome dogs here.
I'm on the progressive caucus to get a more true progressive agenda in place. Because I think there's a lot of people who put progressive in front of their name and they aren't really progressive. So that's part of the agenda that we're working on. And I think drag and politics go hand in hand in many ways. Drag in itself is a form of resistance. I think the arts in many forms are a form of resistance. And I think the attacks that are happening on drag artists across the country were kind of a test to see how far Republicans could push their anti-trans agenda. And now they're going after trans people in incredibly alarming, discriminatory ways. And we need our leaders to fight back against it and not cower like Gavin Newsom has.
Yes, Gavin Newsom. That we could do like 3 hours on Gavin Newsom alone. I'm so troubled by him because, I love that he, is making a show of it and he's, trying to beat Trump at his own game. But to me, it feels so much just like an act. He's trying to be down with the kids. And I'm just like, I'm over this sort of middle of the line, middle-aged white dude. I'm very excited that Tallarico won in Texas, but I really wanted Jasmine.
Same.
But then, and then it's like, but then it's Texas. And in Texas are the other like white dudes who are on the fence about being MAGA. Are they going to move to Tallarico? And then could we possibly win? It's like all the strategy that goes behind race and sex and gender as far as our candidates are concerned. I just want the best person who is a fighter and who isn't owned by Israel. That's That's really what I want.
Yeah, and like I love Jasmine Crockett, and I'm really sad that we're losing her in DC because she will not be a
Yep.
congressional member because of
Right.
this race, and I think that's a
Yep.
real shame. I think she's done incredible work, but and I was rooting for her. And the other side of it is James Tallarico is also a great legislator,
Right.
and I think two truths can exist at the same time. You can think
Sure.
both people are good without bashing the other or putting the other one
Yep.
down. And so I hope that Democratic voters in Texas do rally behind Tallarico.
Yep.
And what you were saying, if you think, will these guys now vote for him? One of the things that Tallarico does really, really well is he talks about his faith in a very
Yep.
accessible way. And he talks about his faith as a Christian, and how he believes that aligns with the things that he's legislating. And
Sure.
it's often contradictory to what right wing Christianity says.
Yes.
But that could be a positive, right? Like,
Right. Like getting back to basics, hopefully. I mean, I think that,
getting back to what
I mean,
is the actual message Jesus taught?
right.
Feed the poor,
Yep. Yeah.
flip the tables on the rich,
Yeah.
help those who
Yeah.
are sick.
Yeah.
Like, go
They've
against the
really
establishment.
lost their way. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've lost their way. And to me, when I see, I've been reading reports this week. We're going to get into the talk about Iran, but I've been seeing reports that commanders in the field are telling their troops in Iran that this is basically Trump's religious war, and
Oh, to
that
bring on the Armageddon, yeah.
to bring on the Armageddon. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? That's not something I ever thought I would hear from a news report
There's
about.
a lot of things I thought I would never hear that we're
Yeah,
hearing
agreed.
in the last 10 years.
Yeah. It has been a national nightmare for 10 years. It really has. Even when Biden was in, I remember when, I mean, I wasn't a Biden fan, but when Biden was in office, all I could think was Trump is still there, like lingering in the background, and he's coming back, and we have to like get ready. And I was worried about it, and it happened again. And we've been dealing with this for 10 years. And it's like, when is that like rash on the side of his neck just going to eat up his face already?
Well, I think it's important to also highlight. I apologize. My dog is like being very
No, no,
loud
no
in the
worries.
background, but Trump is evil, horrible, the worst president we've ever had. But he is
Yep.
a symptom.
Yes.
He is a symptom, and the Republican Party and the alt-right Christian nationalist movement in this country has been
Yep.
in lockstep
Yes.
for decades.
Mhm.
And it's, from the civil rights movement to Roe v. Wade. And then when they got Reagan in office, they were like, let's start implementing our agenda. And
Yep.
they've just been chipping away over the past couple decades. And then they found somebody in Trump who I don't think any of them actually really like.
No. Nope.
Well, his followers, I think, do, but I mean, like the people in office. I don't think they even really like him. And we saw statements from Marco Rubio and JD Vance and Lindsey Graham and all these folks who spoke out against him before. But then when they saw that it gives them proximity to power, they were like, oh, we can use this guy with the big ego who knows how to work the press. Yeah. We can use him to push forth our agenda. And so he's just a symptom of something that has been going on for a long time in this country.
And I think that symptom is not just white Christian nationalism. I think it also has to do with the Epstein Files. I think that, this has been going on for so long, and so many powerful people have been protected. And, I've been going back because I was heavily involved in 2015, 2016. And when I started to see what was happening, and all these reports were coming out about compromat and, the reports from like MI6 and blah, 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 blah. And everybody was like, oh, conspiracy theory. But there's a modicum of truth there. And the mainstream media didn't take it seriously because they thought it was salacious. They thought it was over sexualized. They thought this was all about sex scandals. And yes, of course, at the baseline of it, Epstein, it seems to me like, was working with many different governments and just blackmailing a bunch of people to get information on other people and to move all these people around. And now all the people that he had information on, even though he's not alive anymore, can use that against other people. And so we are now fighting wars so that rich and powerful men aren't exposed as pedophiles. And I'm like, what are we actually doing here?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So, like when you go online and you see people say, well, why aren't we going after the Democrats on there? And I'm like, if there's Democrats on those lists, which there are, take them down too. I don't
Kathy
care.
Rumler, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
I don't care what political party you're affiliated with. I don't care what government you're affiliated with, what movie studio you worked with, what record label, what corporation. I don't care. If you are somebody who is on those lists and you are somebody who engaged in what happened or witnessed what happened
and didn't come forward, or
you're
just
done.
like
You're done. And I look at like Melinda Gates, who like I don't like billionaires, but I think she has a moral compass. At least she gives a lot of her money away, which is good.
Yes.
And she has very openly, I think she's been very careful with her wording around it because I'm sure there's an ironclad NDA, but she has very openly said like Epstein is one of the reasons her and Bill Gates got divorced. And I think Bill Gates probably hasn't been as forthcoming to the public with what he knows, saw, or did, and she does.
Bill Gates, he's in hiding. We don't know where he is right now.
Yeah, but I think I think Melinda does, and she was like, "This is gross. I'm out. Like this is
for sure."
Yeah. I think it's disgusting, and I also think it's like every accusation is an admission. So before we went on air, you and I were talking about Pizzagate and Nancy Mason, Lauren Boebert questioning Hillary Clinton about Pizzagate,
right?
And how it was like a child sex trafficking ring at a pizza parlor. Every accusation is an admission because we know that the sex trafficking rings were happening. It wasn't in a pizza parlor, but they were happening. And Trump was very heavily involved.
Well, and I think that the reason why Pizzagate exists, I mean, if we go back to the origins of these conspiracy theories that started around the 2015 and 2016 election, Jeffrey Epstein is actually responsible for them. He's the guy who was on 4chan and doing /poll and setting up all of these sort of like incels and feeding them this narrative that the Democrats are pedophile. He was the one that created the conspiracy theory to take eyes off of Trump and to take eyes off of Bannon and to take eyes off of anyone else who was like trying to help them at that time. And the reason why I think they pushed toward pizza is because pizza is one of those words in the Epstein files that is code for children. Pizza and chicken and like, all these crazy ass words. And so we can see now that like there's this sort of puppet master who was able to get Russia and Iran and Israel and the United States and all these people because he would invite them to his like island to have sex with children, record them and be like, now you have to give me whatever I want. I mean, Les Wexner is a perfect example. How does this billionaire not know where all these millions of dollars went and that Jeffrey Epstein was taking all these millions of dollars from him? I'm glad that we're finally doing something about it. I'm pissed at Merrick Garland. I'm pissed at previous administrations. I am pissed that this week it came out that the 2019 DOJ, so that would have been Bill Barr at the time, shut down the investigation into Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. They're now starting it.
Yeah, New Mexico is now trying to investigate that.
Yes,
now, right?
yeah. They have a criminal. They've opened a criminal investigation, and I'm hoping that they will, start digging up that ranch. But they were trying to do that back in 2019 when Trump's DOJ at the time had pulled prosecutors and said stop the investigation. So there's so much that we don't know, and as it trickles out, I think it's going to become. I mean, there are days where I'm like, why am I going to work today? Well, like, why am I paying taxes? Like, why
are we paying taxes? Why are we doing the things we're doing? And we look at other governments, like Norway has gone after one of their former prime ministers. Their royal family is in deep shit because of it. The British royal family is in deep shit because of it.
Yep.
Members of parliament are in deep shit because of it. And they're all being held accountable. But here in this country, we're like,
Somebody
Okay.
resigned. Okay, great. So before we get into the Iran Epstein of it all, I do want to ask you a couple of questions about living in New York, being a progressive, how you feel about the work that Mamdani is doing so far, and also how you feel about his relationship with Trump.
Okay.
Go, go for it. Go for it. Give me what you got.
I've known Mamdani for several years through
Hmm.
their work as an assembly member, and I have to tell you, as somebody who knows him like personally, I can FaceTime him right now. You know, like he is
Do
a
it. Bring him in.
he's a little busy right now, but he's a great guy. I think he's a stand-up person.
Yeah.
I think he is incredibly smart, and I think he's showing Democrats that we can win and achieve things that are not in the moderate centrist democratic establishment way.
Hmm.
You know, it was so interesting, like when this blizzard happened and everybody in the media was going after him saying, oh, he's making people shovel the snow and he's getting their social
Making
security number.
people.
No, what he did was people weren't able to go to work because the
Yeah.
roads and the trains weren't working.
Yeah.
So he learned from the last blizzard of like what can we do to make sure the streets are cleared faster. Oh, people can't get to work. Most New Yorkers are gig workers, so
Right.
they get paid when they show up for work.
Right.
So we will hire people as city workers to help clear the snow. It
Hmm.
is the government working for the people, and I thought it was brilliant. And of course, Fox News went after it and said he's taking, oh no, but no, he was creating jobs for people who needed them in that time, and it benefited the city in a really incredible way. And that is such a small thing to think about, but he was in that showing how government can work for the people and how it is
Sure.
supposed to work for the people. His relationship with Trump,
It's so weird.
I know a lot of people are kind of critical about it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think I could be in a room with that man.
Mm-mm.
But it's brilliant politics because at the end of the day, what does Trump love more than anything? He loves winners.
Yes.
He loves the approval of New York, which he doesn't
And
have. He
charismatic, handsome
he
men.
he loves charismatic, handsome men, and he
Hmm.
loves people who buck um, the political elite.
Sure. Yeah.
And Mamdani is attractive,
Hmm.
liked, likable,
Yep.
uh, a New Yorker,
Hmm.
and that's funny that comment there. And he went in there with a fake headline newspaper for
Oh
Trump to
yeah.
hold up.
Exactly. It was so brilliant.
And it played into everything. It played into the ego of Trump. And
Yeah.
I think Mamdani is brilliant in the sense that he is manipulating Trump in a way to get like things for New Yorkers. And
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sam says Trump knows Mamdani has Riz, which is absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
that means he's cool.
It's brilliant politicking.
Yep. And Jess says, but did he throw paper towels at the public to solve a weather related crisis? No, he did not. No, he did not. Yeah, I'm interested in Mamdani. I think that it's unfortunate that uh, it's unfortunate that I am Gen X. I have been through enough presidents and catastrophes in this country and enough failed election campaigns with women to know that Mamdani would be someone who would be perfect for president. But I don't know if there's anyone. I don't know if that he would ever be elected. That he could be elected.
He wasn't born in the United States, so he's not eligible to run for
I
president.
get that, but I'm saying like he is a perfect example of who could be a wonderful president, but if he were able to run, I don't think he would be elected.
Well, yeah, I think America is hugely Islamophobic, and
Yes.
uh, so that would be a
Yeah.
hurdle.
I mean, and I'm so sick of these comments that have been coming out this week too, like since they've been releasing footage from the deposition with Hillary Clinton, listening to people in MAGA world, listening to conservative Republicans, people who have been fighting against her whole life, be like, man, if Hillary Clinton had just acted, if Hillary Clinton could have given depositions instead of running a campaign, she would have been elected. I'm like, fuck you. Are you fucking kidding me? This is the woman that we've all known for a very long time. Now, she's not a perfect candidate, but she's smart. She's had more experience working in this government than pretty much anyone in this country.
She's
And
certainly, yeah, she's certainly not a perfect candidate. She's
no,
not somebody that I've been like a huge fan of, but I will tell
right.
you, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Yeah.
And the same with Kamala. There was a lot of issues I had with Kamala, but I also know that, like, am I going to take the person that I can get in the room with and push towards what I
Yes,
believe is right?
exactly.
Or am I going to
Exactly.
pick the person who was going to burn everything into the ground to save their own ass and their ego is
Yeah. Yep.
crazy, you know?
I will never forget and I will never forgive the people who said that Project 2025 was not real because they are doing it step by step right now.
They are doing it step by step, and they told us it was real. The only person
Right.
who told us it wasn't was Trump. So
Right.
why would you believe he's a con man? Why would you? They have been telling us this for
Yes.
decades that this is their
Yes.
plan, which goes back to what I
Yes.
said at the beginning. This
Mhm.
movement has been in place for decades. It's not
Yes.
new.
No.
It's not new. So anybody who says, "Oh, you're overreacting," or "It's not," or "It can't," and even the people who still today are like, "Well, we'll still have an election. It's okay." We might not, and that is a very
Right.
real threat. Like, and that takes us into Iran, right? Like,
Yeah.
Trump already doesn't follow the law or the
Right.
Constitution or what he
Yeah.
is supposed to be doing. He ignores court orders. He ignores
Mhm.
anything of legality,
Yeah.
and he very casually, jokingly talks about a third term. I don't think it's a joke.
Not a joke.
I think he fully means it. When he jokes about not having elections or why do we need elections, I don't think it's a joke. I think he fully means it. And I think the people around him who prop him up, they all know he means it.
They do.
And they're
They
going to
do.
stick with it because they know that when he's not in office, they will be prosecuted. So they
Mhm.
want proximity to power. They want to
Yes.
stay in power so they don't get prosecuted.
Yep.
And I think it's very real that we might not have an election. And he will use the Insurrection Act as a way
Yes.
to do that by saying, "Oh, we're going after the enemies in Iran and Venezuela and now Ecuador, apparently." Uh,
Right.
but he's going to say, "We're
Cuba,
going
don't forget Cuba.
in Cuba." He's like, "We're going to go after these folks. You all are protesting, which means you're not American. You're not
Mhm.
patriotic. So we have to have the Insurrection Act and martial law. And under the Insurrection Act and martial law, elections can be suspended." So
Yeah. And he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, which is what he always does. The contradictions and the flooding flooding the zone and all this stuff with all of these
which
stories.
Steve Bannon told us was their plan.
Yep, Steve Bannon. Oh, he's so horrible. And I knew it when it was happening. And I will say, one of the things that always stuck out to me from 2015-16 was actually Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne Conway taught all of the people we're listening to now, we hear giving all these states, she taught them their media strategy, the whataboutism, the circular arguments, the gaslighting. She taught them that strategy. And I saw it when it was happening and I thought, oh shit, we're in trouble. This is the woman who, coined alternative facts. And when we don't have
Remember
truth
that?
in
Oh my God.
oh, fuck yeah, I remember everything about that woman. She freaked me out more than anybody, more than Steve Bannon, more than anybody, because what she was doing was she was giving media training to all these people that we're seeing go on mainstream media now and go on Fox News and CNN and MSNBC or MS Now. And we've shifted into how we speak about politics, how we speak about what's going on in the world, and there's not a lot of truth in it anymore on either side. We have our talking points, we come on these shows. That's the reason I created this show, because I often hate watch CNN's Abby Phillips Newsnight, specifically Scott Jennings, one of their pundits from MAGA world. They come onto the show, they have their talking points, they will not be moved. There isn't actually any debate. They are there to sell whatever they've been told to sell. And I'm frankly sick of it. I want us to get back to some truth telling. Like, we're at the point right now where with what's happening in Iran, we don't really even know what to believe anymore. because we don't have trusted news sources. And
well, they're all owned by the Ellison family. So
yep. Like CNN, CBS, like it's terrifying to me that he has taken over so much of, this sort of fourth estate, this fourth wall in our justice system, and in our country, where he's just going to continue to brainwash the people that are already brainwashed. And then there's going to be the rest of us who are like, I don't know what to believe. I don't know if this is actually a video
then
of what's happening in
AI and all of that.
Yes,
and
exactly.
We're living in a time that we're living, like, it's crazy, right? Like I love there are many things about social media I love. And I also think it has been like, I think it has caused the most harm.
This is Ruby, by the way.
Oh, sweet babe. I think social media has caused so much harm because people can post whatever they want. Yep. There's no fact checking. You can say anything you want. You can now post AI videos. You can say, write, do, post, edit, anything. Yep. and alter things. And so we're all like, was that real? Is that real? Is this the truth? Is this not the truth? And but that plays into their hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about, I know we only have you for about 20 more minutes. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we heard this week. So this last weekend, just to catch the audience up, I'm sure everyone in the audience knows, but last weekend, in the middle of the night, we decided to bomb Iran. And then the president went and did a sort of canned, recorded speech about what we were doing while he was wearing one of his stupid MAGA hats. And since then, so for the past week, since we've been bombing Iran, and sadly 6 service members have been killed, and thousands of Americans are stranded with no way to get home because they didn't know this was coming, we have heard like 7 different narratives from this administration. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is coming out and saying one thing. The president is coming out and saying one thing. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is coming out and saying another thing. And I'm frustrated because, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. That's why I'm looking off to the side here. I'm frustrated because there is no way to hold them accountable.
There's no way to hold them, and Congress is just defunct. They're just defunct. They don't do anything.
Nope.
Which is so frustrating. And I say that about both parties.
Yes, absolutely. No, I am
do anything.
I'm wholly frustrated with Chuck Schumer and Representative Jeffries. I think that
a waste.
I am so sick of them, and they need to move on. Mitch McConnell is literally being wheeled in a wheelchair, can barely walk, can barely like say coherent sentences, and we are still expecting him to vote on shit. And I'm like, what are we doing, you guys?
I'm a big believer in term limits. I am a big believer in age restriction for legislators. And that is not to sound ageist. That is not it at all. But I think the retirement age in this country is set where it is. So why is that not the same for legislators? Why do we have somebody who is a Congress member who is 80 years old filing to run again? Dianne Feinstein stayed in office until she died. She was in her 90s.
Yep.
Like Nancy Pelosi. I'm naming people from our party. Like
Nancy Pelosi is the one who gave us Jeffries too. On her, like, as she's walking out the door, she gives us Jeffries and says he's a rising star. I've seen nothing from this guy but mealy-mouthed statements.
I'm so tired of statements and finger wagging. Do something.
Stern letters.
Something. Yeah. And like, it's good that Pam Bondi is getting subpoenaed, but look at this administration. She probably isn't even going to show up.
No.
And she's not, and she won't care about being held in contempt because she knows nothing's going to happen to her. That's the issue. They know nothing is going to happen. Yeah. And that is so frustrating. And to go back to your point, waking up on Saturday morning, it was, Friday night I made this video about the Kansas ruling about trans people and their driver's licenses, and I was so angry.
Can you tell the audience about that ruling? Because some of the audience may not know. So tell me what you're talking
So
about.
in the state of Kansas, and again, this is a state who's laying a blueprint for other states. We know our driver's licenses not only get us from point A to point B, but it can help us with jobs, housing, any number of things, banking, whatever. So when you take away someone's driver's license, you're taking away their access to employment, housing, et cetera, right? So in Kansas, they have said that all trans people have to turn their driver's licenses in or face arrest and fines and jail time, that they have to turn their birth certificates in or face jail and fining, so they can be reviewed and be changed back to whatever it was before. So it's already bad enough that they're invalidating somebody's humanity, but now they're taking away access to things. Let's look at the history books. What did Germany do to Jewish people?
Exactly.
They took away their driver's licenses and identification. This administration, on all levels, and I say this administration broadly, I mean like the GOP kind of as a whole, is using the playbook of what my grandfathers fought against in the 1940s, and we're seeing like George Takei talks about how he's watching these ICE detention centers, and he's like, my family was put in those.
Yes. Yep.
As a Japanese American, we are watching history repeat itself. Humans are like the only species who is keen on like extincting themselves. And so I went to bed very angry about that ruling in Kansas. And I got into bed and I said, okay, I'm going to just pause and meditate for a minute and wake up tomorrow and say, okay, what are actionable things I can do to help folks in Kansas? What are actionable things I can do to help folks here? What are things I can do to bring myself some peace in the chaos? Because I think it's important to practice self-care through this as well.
Exactly.
And I calmed myself down, cuddled with the dog, had some ice cream. I was like, tomorrow's a brand new day. And then I woke up to, we're at war. And to that man getting on a microphone and saying, yes, Americans will die, without an ounce of empathy or compassion to that. If you're so keen on sending people to die, your son is 19, send his little ass.
Well, they said he was too tall to go to war.
Oh, boo. Like, okay, Netanyahu is doing this war with Trump while his kids are hanging out in Miami. And now
his wife and kids are in Miami. Yep.
And now Bebe is hunkered down in Berlin. And if I recall correctly, Germany and Switzerland all said that if he comes, they will arrest him because the ICC has a warrant out for him. Well, now he's in Germany, so now you can arrest him.
Arrest him. He's a war criminal. Yeah.
So hold to it. Arrest him.
Yes. Yeah. But these are all across the globe. People talk so big and they are so willing to upset the global balance by doing something like that. And at some point, I feel like
the global balance is already upset.
I know, but they're still nervous to make any kind of moves. I was so shocked the morning I woke up and found out that the ex Prince Andrew had been arrested. I mean, I know that Charles was sort of pushed into a corner finally, and Charles doesn't really like his brother anyway, and he wanted something to be done. But they knew about what he was doing for so long, and it took this long for him to not be arrested for having, for being a pedophile, but to be arrested for giving secrets about the UK government to Epstein. And it's like,
well, the royal family is only doing it now. Of course they knew all along, and they're only doing it now because polling has slipped, and the way that they stay as monarchs is the population has to want them to be a monarch. So it's self-serving. It's the same with what's happening in Norway and their royal family now.
Yep. Absolutely. I want to shift back to something. A comment on the screen is from Jess, and they say if they can't go with martial law or the Insurrection Act, they will disenfranchise enough voters to still win. Do you have any thoughts?
Dallas.
I was just about to ask you. Great transition. What are your thoughts on what happened in Dallas County in last night's election between Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett?
Uh, Dallas County, primarily Black and Brown County, they have traditionally been allowed to vote in any of the precincts within that area. And last minute, the decision was made that they had to go to the one in their direct area. And so people didn't know that. They weren't informed properly. They didn't know. Some people literally walked miles to get to where they were going to tell them that they can't vote there, to then be turned around, not know where to go, not have the information on where to vote. So the judge put through the order that polling places had to stay open till 9. And then Paxton, the attorney general, who is corrupt, who is a criminal, who has his whole own set of issues, went to the Texas Supreme Court and they stopped it. So there's a whole stack of votes that we don't know what those votes are. So maybe Jasmine did win. Man, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
And that is voter that is disenfranchising voters. That is voter suppression, and it is racial voter suppression. And again, the same thing what I said in Kansas with the driver's licenses. That's one area during a test run to see how others can do it. That is Texas during a test run to say, okay, Georgia, Atlanta has a huge Black voting population. What can we do there? Okay, we have, Detroit, we have, wherever. How can we finagle this here? So if they can't do the martial law, then they're going to do every goddamn thing they can to do that. And sorry, I'm going on a tangent. But
no, please.
But how I said every accusation is an admission. We have been hearing voter fraud, and then guess who just came out was committing the voter fraud? Elon Musk. So I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be somebody who plays into conspiracy theories because I don't think it's helpful. But isn't it funny that Elon Musk owns the voting machines? And isn't it funny that Trump won every single swing state?
The biggest conspiracy theory, and I am okay admitting this because at this point, who gives a fuck? This whole thing about the rally that he was at where the guy shot at him and he got shot in the ear. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You guys can call me a conspiracy theory if you want. That man did not get shot. That was a photo op, and that's my opinion, obviously.
I agree. I don't think his ear is fine. His ear is fine.
But not only that,
his ear is fine. If a bullet grazed your ear, it was a photo op. I think it was a setup, and I also
a setup where two people died. Let's keep that in mind
because he was willing to do that.
He was willing to do that. And have you seen these videos of? It's a wider shot and it's just before the shooting happens and it's Secret Service pushing the photographers into place. And then I don't know if you remember. Pictures. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, but there's an American flag hanging off of a crane above him and the crane starts lowering the American flag into the shot just before he gets shot. I sound crazy. I'm telling you.
I think that whole thing was a setup. I think it was a complete setup as a way to boost him up and rile his base up. I also, like I said, I don't like to get into conspiracy theories, but there are a couple that I fall into. I think Erica Kirk knew. I think she knew her husband was going to be killed. I think Charlie Kirk was a horrible human being, but I think he started catching on to Israel and being against them, and they were like, we got to shut him up. And Erica Kirk was like, I can play that part.
Well, she got paid $350,000 just a couple of weeks before Charlie passed away. So
but she's like, how much can I make?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, I don't have all of the facts of that situation, but what I have been reading, I'm starting to realize, and unfortunately, we're in a place right now with everything that's been coming out recently where I don't trust or believe anything they're telling us anymore. So when I'm hearing stories like, Erica Kirk got paid. Charlie got shot because he started speaking out against Israel and the Epstein Files. I believe it because why not? They've killed children. There is a possibility that they allowed two people to die so that, Trump could get a photo op. They are starting a war with Iran so that we can't read the Epstein files.
They want to build luxury hotels over
in Gaza,
over dead bodies that
yeah.
And so I'll tell you, I because I'm a state committee member and somebody political, I get asked to do a lot of endorsements, to give a lot of endorsements to candidates, and I point blank ask every single one, if elected, do you support abolishing ICE? And do you believe that what's happening is a genocide?
Right. In the Gaza Strip.
In Gaza. Those are my two questions. And that's, will you abolish? Do you believe it is a genocide? They are very simple questions to answer. It's a yes or a no for each of them. And I met with a guy the other day who's running for Congress, and I asked him that, and he, I won't say his name right now, but I do like him, and he gets a lot of shit from people who say it's a genocide, which I am one of them. I believe it is a genocide committed by the Israeli government. And then he gets a lot of shit from his Jewish constituency because he's supported Mamdani and has spoken out against Netanyahu. And we had a really great conversation about it, where he was like, as a Jewish person, me speaking out against Netanyahu and the Israeli government is the same as me speaking out against Trump. It has nothing to do with me being Jewish. It has to do with me being against a corrupt government. And I think that's exactly right. Like, we can hold our leader, like why is there this litmus test where like we're labeled as something if we criticize the government? I criticize our government all the fucking time.
Yeah, we're allowed to. That's our First Amendment right. We're supposed to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to criticize other governments that are committing genocide.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to bring up this comment that Rhonda made because I want to go back to Texas for a moment, and I want to clarify a couple of things. Rhonda says, is it too much to ask that you find out where your precinct is before voting day? Just call county, they will tell you. Absolutely. In a normal political situation, I would say, Rhonda, you're absolutely right. However, I would really encourage you to go watch the videos of voters walking up to their precinct and their polling places and being told, this is no longer a Democratic precinct. Go find your Democratic precinct. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
So people literally walking up to the doors and being turned away. So yes, Rhonda, I agree with you. If we were living in normal times, that would be absolutely true.
That would be the case. Yeah.
You would find out where you're supposed to go vote, and you'd show up and you'd go vote, and everything would be fine. These voters in Dallas County were showing up at the place that they were supposed to be voting.
Where they voted before.
They had voted before. And like you said, walking miles to get there sometimes, walking up to the door and being told, you don't belong here. This is no longer a Democratic precinct. You need to go find your precinct. So it's easy to say, yeah, do the work beforehand, but these people are doing the work beforehand. They wanted to vote. They were excited to vote. They waited in line for hours to vote, and they were being turned away. So we have an issue here. There's a problem here, and it does feel like something nefarious is happening there. So I just wanted to.
The information should have been given to the voters. Yeah. And it wasn't.
And then I had one other comment I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to get your take on before I have to let you go. Rage Knitter said, are there any Republican civil servants you guys think are actually serving their constituents well? It all just seems like boots on the necks of the disenfranchised. Are there any Republicans or any of the GOP that you've worked with recently that you think are doing a good job for their constituents? I can name Thomas Massie. I don't agree with Thomas Massie. I
think I don't like Thomas Massie. I don't like Lisa from Alaska. What's her name? Murkowitz?
Lisa Murkowski.
Murkowski, sorry. Yeah. I don't like her, but they at least sometimes speak out against Trump, like every now and again. But I think no. I think Republicans are self.
You're like, no, I don't have anybody I can think of. Yeah, Thomas Massie is the only one that's sticking out to me right now, but that's because he's been so outspoken. I will say, I did watch, parts of the Kristi Noem hearing in Congress or in the Senate this past week, and Tom Tillis took it to her. Tom Tillis is
yeah, that was good. Yeah.
But Tom Tillis is on his way out, so they don't feel pressured anymore to
Isn't
like
that what
hang with the
sucks? Like
party.
even Mitch McConnell is on his way
Yeah.
out. He's not running for re-election. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, Trump was really bad. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I'm
really
not
don't like
voting for
him."
this. Yeah.
And I'm
But
like,
Tom Tillis is the first person I've seen publicly go after Kristi Noem for shooting her dog.
"Oh, I
And I
saw
thought that
those."
moment was brilliant, I have to say. Kayla has a question for you, Marty, about what do you think about the challenger to Jeffries, Vance Bostic? Bostich? Bostich?
I'll be honest with you, Kayla. I don't know much about them. I do not unfortunately don't think they have a chance of beating him in a primary. I think Chiosei, who had originally stated that they were going to run, she is a New York City council member. They had originally said they were going to run, and I think that they would have had a very, very good shot of beating Jeffries in a primary.
Mhm.
And I'm sad that they decided not to run.
Mhm.
And I wish Mom Donnie would have backed them in that. And this is another thing about, like I said at the beginning of this recording, I am friends with Zoran. I like
Mhm.
him. I think he does a great job, but I also think humans are fallible and
Yes.
it's okay to hold your friends accountable. And I made it no secret that I thought that was a bad call for him not to back uh Chiosei.
Mhm.
Um I think not having like a well-known or person run against someone like Jeffries is good for the person doing it, but not good for the constituency.
Mhm. Yep, agreed. Is there anything else you wanna tell the audience before you take off? Do you have any words of wisdom for what we should be doing right now? What we can do in small acts to help with what's happening and moving into November? Because the way I'm looking at it is I don't feel comfortable that we're going to have elections, but if we do have elections, I don't feel comfortable with any like the legality of those elections. What can we do other than completely overwhelm the vote so that there's no way they can cheat? Like what can we do on small scales every day to push our leaders and to push our the people who we have in DC that are supposed to be working for us?
I think one of the things we can do, well, obviously, like vote, make sure people vote, but look at
Mhm.
candidates that are actually doing the work. What's her name? Oh my God, why am I blanking on everyone's name tonight? She
Tell me where they're
turned
from.
she turned her office into a mutual aid
Oh.
location. She was a journalist who was running.
Cat.
Yeah.
Cat.
She's great. She's great.
I can't think of what her last name is, but
Yeah,
Cat as boy, I can't think of what her
yeah,
last name
she's
is.
great.
Yeah.
Look at people running like that,
Yeah.
but also like outside of the political world, like join local mutual aid groups. Like we're gonna have to really be on the ground doing community work with our neighbors, with one another to, go to the ICE trainings,
Yeah.
the stop ICE trainings. Not the ICE I mean,
Yeah.
go to the
Yeah, that's
trainings
what it is.
that help you learn about what to do when ICE shows up. Thank you, Kayla, for putting that there.
Yeah.
Go to the trainings, protect your neighbors, um, join
What
mutual aid
about
groups that do food distribution, clothing distribution. Um,
what about the people who are scared though? I mean, when you're being called a domestic terrorist because you're doing an ICE training, or when you are out there in the streets trying to protect your neighbors and you're they're being either threatened with being shot in the street or arrested, detained, or just being called a domestic terrorist. What do you say to people who are scared?
yeah, so I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't go to protest or trainings or things. Maybe it's because of a disability you're not able to go. Maybe it's because you can't get arrested because you're a single parent and you have kids at home,
Right. Yep.
or you have to go to work because you're
Yeah.
working 3 jobs just to
Right.
pay your rent. Like, or you're scared that you're scared to even post because they're now saying they're going after people's social media.
Yep.
So in those instances, I would say find community that you trust.
Hmm.
And if you can't go because of any of those reasons or whatever reason, buy a box of granola bars for the people going. You know what I mean? Like I know
No,
that people,
absolutely.
or like
Water
if
bottle.
or if you can't go because of those reasons, but you have some extra money, give it to bail funds for
Yes.
people. You know,
Yes.
let somebody take your car. If you have a car you're not using, they can take it, you
Mhm.
know, whatever. There are other ways to like
Those are
help
really
out.
great ideas. Yeah.
You know, you can drop off clothes at a church that's helping immigrants to make sure that
Mhm.
like, you know, kids are given like a warm sweater or whatever, you
Yeah.
know. So there's little things like that you can do, and there's many reasons that people can't go to these events. Uh, but there are things you can do if you don't. You can
Sure.
boycott Target. You
You
can,
can boycott Target.
you know
Yes.
what I
Yes.
mean? Like you can boycott
Yep.
Target. You can boycott
Which is
Amazon.
happening. Yep.
Yeah,
It's happening.
you can, you know, there's things like
Use
that you can do.
money.
Do
Yeah,
economic,
for
like
sure.
you can start going to like a small local bank instead of like a big corporate bank. You know, there's little things like, you know, that you can do to help.
Yeah. Well, Marti, I know you have to run. I think that you're a lovely human being. I'm so happy that you're here and that you are doing the work that you're doing in your community. I think that also another thing we can tell everybody is do local work. I think
Yeah.
local
Oh,
work,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
getting involved in local politics is hugely important, and that's where it starts and then it grows from there. So I really hope you'll come back to the show. I think you're
Yes,
amazing.
please. And I always say, to follow up really quick, I always say local government, local politics is the bedrock of democracy, because there is
Yes.
like, take for example, like New York City. We have a larger, our operating budget is larger than most states' operating
Hmm.
budget.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, our population is larger than most states'
Right.
populations, but like because of that, there's a lot of power that comes with that that
Sure.
can make change. You know, so
Absolutely.
your local government, your school
Mm.
boards are so important because they're banning books and being transphobic and doing all this stuff, like getting rid of Black history in schools and Indigenous
Yep.
history and all this stuff. If you get elected on a school board or support a candidate for the school board that's not going to do that, you can make sure that your school district is doing the right thing. So it's like little things like that, that can help, you know.
Sure.
So
Well,
yeah,
I think the audience really appreciates you, and I think they'd love for you to come back. I would definitely
let's
love
do
for you to
it.
come back. Let's do it. I will stay in touch. We are going to do this every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. So I
I love
will stay in
it.
touch and we'll have you back. And please be safe out there and keep doing all the hard work that you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
thank you.
I
Thank
gotta
you
go
so
throw my
much.
face on and get ready
Go
for
put
my
your face
show.
on. All right, darling.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. All right, I'll see you.
Bye.
Guys, I'm gonna stick around for just a minute. I've got a couple of videos. We had some questions in the chat about let me see if I can pull this up here. We had some questions in the chat about what was happening in Texas. So I want to show you guys a little bit of what we've been seeing. Let me see if I can find it here. Voters being turned away. Okay. Let me put this on the screen here. There are some videos out there that you should see. Let me see if I can open this one. We're gonna need the audio for it. Why are you not playing? Why is that not translating? Hold on. I would like to present. Give me a moment here. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So this is
library where so many people, close to 200 were told.
okay. Hold on a second. Let me just rewind this. Give me a second, y'all. Technical difficulties. Okay, here we go.
Now it's the inconvenience for me because now I got to get to the other side of town to go vote there.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett here in Oak Lawn at the library where so many people, close to 200 were told, have been turned away because they're essentially at the wrong location.
Normally they can go anywhere in the county, and now forcing them into their precinct, and precincts change all the time. So there is a lot of confusion. We're receiving emails about it, we're receiving phone calls about it. And so it is my hope that they are given a little bit of additional time to go ahead and cast their votes. With that being said, they are still pushing through.
So that was just a short clip of, some of the things that are happening in Dallas. It's really frustrating to me when people do make a plan to vote and they really believe in their right to vote and they show up, they do all the things that they're supposed to do, and then they get told this is no longer a democratic precinct. You need to go away. That is frustrating, and I think we're going to see it happen a lot more. I'm sorry, I'm looking back and forth. I have a extra monitor here where my notes are. But I'd love to hear from the audience, like what are you guys thinking about? Why do you think that we are currently bombing Iran? We've heard so many different reasons for why we're doing this. You know, Marco Rubio said it was because we thought that Iran was going to bomb us or Israel, maybe. And I'm paraphrasing here. I mean, I can't keep the story straight, so I'm trying to just say this is what they're telling us, and I don't know if it's true or not, but the different reasons that we've been hearing. Here, let me pull up my notes really quick. The different reasons we've been hearing for this war, which this is the crazy thing. Some of them will correct you and be like, "Well, we're not at war. This isn't a war." I'm sorry. 6 servicemen have died. We are currently bombing the fuck out of Iran in, conjunction with Israel. So there have been so many versions. We've been hearing about this nuclear red line, right? So the administration is asserting that Iran has never truly abandoned its nuclear ambitions, so we had to strike them first. The administration has shifted focus toward Iran's delivery systems, describing them as a conventional shield for their nuclear goals, so we had to bomb them first. The Israeli trigger. So Rubio, the Secretary of State, has been arguing that because Israel was determined to strike Iran, the U.S. had to strike first to degrade Iran's ability to retaliate against American bases. That was another excuse. We've been told that there was an imminent threat. We've been told there wasn't an imminent threat. We've been told that this is a religious war. We've been told this isn't a war. No one is, and I watched the press conference today with Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt from the White House, and again, it was all over the place. They're very mealy-mouthed descriptions and reasons, but when they say it with force, they expect you to believe it because they're saying it with force. Or when they chastise the press, or when they yell at people, or when they say things like, the commander in chief knows what he's doing. He literally said yesterday, my hair's crazy. He literally said yesterday that he had a feeling that Iran was going to bomb. And so we did it first. I'm sorry, but we don't start wars based on an 80-something-year-old man's feelings about what's going to happen. I don't care if he is the president. So tell me your thoughts in the chat. Tell me your thoughts about what we're doing here, why we did this. My thoughts are, while you guys are thinking about it and telling me your thoughts, my thoughts are that this Epstein Files situation is a lot bigger than any of us actually realize. I said this before when we were speaking with Marti, that Epstein was sort of this puppet master for so many different countries and nations. And he was playing them all against each other. He was doing financial work for Putin. He was doing financial work for Les Wexner. He was selling secrets to certain countries and holding secrets for other countries. He was working with the Mossad. He was working with Trump. And how many times in the past, couple of months, have we heard that if everything in the Epstein Files actually comes out, the world will burn down? I think that's the reason why Israel and the United States have started a war with Iran. It's a distraction. It's to get everybody talking about World War III, basically. And instead, we've still got thousands of victims from the Epstein Files, and we have thousands of people that need to be held accountable, and it's not happening. So those are my thoughts. I believe that we are bombing Iran because all of these people will be held accountable if we get to the bottom of the Epstein Files. My personal opinion. Anybody else? Let's see. Okay. I live in Tennessee. Everyone has a gun. Yeah. Well, I think everyone, this has nothing to do with what we were just talking about, but I just saw this Journeys of Peace. I live in Tennessee. Everyone has a gun. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's just, the right that has guns anymore. I think liberals, I think the Democrats, I think the left are starting to realize that they might also need to have guns. So that's happening as well. Let's see. I hope Marty will come back sometime. Me too, Kayla. They're lovely, and I really hope that they come back. Houston school districts were taken over by Abbott. Yeah, Abbott is terrifying. Abbott's terrifying. I went to high school. I lived in Texas for 4 or 5 years, in high school and then outside of high school. And it's a place that I don't often travel because I am terrified to be in that state. Horrible things happened when I lived in that state as a gay person. So I never go back. Let's see. Ben to Dallas, I'll pass on going back. Ask Ellen how that went down. I know very well, Chris, how that went down. All of my friends were there. Not good. There's no other reason other than that's what Netanyahu wanted. I really think that I've been reading these reports about if, before we bombed Iran, basically Trump was stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he didn't bomb Iran, then Bibi Netanyahu would release the videos and photographs of him with underage girls. And if we did bomb Iran, that Iran would do the same thing. We're still waiting to see if any of that's going to happen. Honestly, I hope it does. I also heard a rumor today that Iran is possibly wanting to hack our systems to wipe out everyone's debt and change their credit scores. I'm like, bring that on. I'm good with that. But yeah, I just think that unfortunately our current government is in the pocket of a war criminal in Bibi Netanyahu. Chris says to make us forget about the files. I agree. Jelly says, hi chat. By the way, if you're here, please go like this video. I am still building this channel. This is my second show on YouTube outside of Something's Off. I haven't really done a lot of housekeeping since I've been here tonight, but if you're here and you like what we're talking about and you want to see more guests like Marty, I'm booking guests right now and I'm booked out for the next month. So I'm really excited about that. I've got some really great guests coming on. If you like what we're doing or you like what I'm doing, because this is me again, just over here by myself in my little bathtub, which everyone says my background looks like a bathtub, but I'm working on it. Give me a break. If you like what we're doing, please, if you can and you're willing, please tip. There's a QR code here at the top of the screen on the right, and then on the bottom, Something's Off shouldn't be up, but it is. You can tip at Venmo. My Venmo is Mel Barrett Writes, or Cash App is not Something's Off. Cash App is Newslight. Sorry, Newslight. I will change that while I'm here. Hold on just a second. There we go. If you feel inclined, please, tips are most welcome. I am, like I said, I'm building right now. I was able to get a second monitor this week. I was able to start putting together a backdrop. I was able to start getting to a place where it's going to start being a little bit more professional. And, I think that shows like this are supremely important because we're getting to the place with, these monopolies that we're seeing happen right now with Ellison, the merger and the acquisition of Paramount, Warner Brothers is terrifying to me. It means that our fourth estate is going away. Journalism is going away. So we need independent discussions. And we're not always going to get it right. We don't have the access that the mainstream media has, but we can have really important conversations like the one that we had tonight with Marty. And so please support if you can. And I appreciate you all so much. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Journeys of Peace said, I think your theory is right. My psychiatrist said the same thing, and she said she listens to your podcast. Oh, well, tell your psychiatrist that I appreciate her thoughts and for listening. I love that. Thank you so much. Rage Knitter says, Rage Knitter, you're from Canada. Is that right? I've been reading that right? I think Trump was duped into it and backroom deal with Bibi for Trump to have leeway in building in Gaza. That is a distinct possibility. I think it's twofold or maybe fivefold. Who knows at this point? Jess says distraction from the Epstein Files and a POTUS with dementia and a huge ego. Yeah. I mean, I think we're living through an actual weekend at Bernie's right now. I think that he is suffering from dementia and is not with it. and they are wheeling him around and putting him up at the podium and letting him talk and ramble on about the drapes and the ballroom while they start wars. And that's terrifying. And Katie said, this is war. Abso-friggin-lutely. And Katie also said it's because they're holding blackmail over Trump's head. Agreed. Armed conflict. Let's see, Liz. Armed conflict between two countries is the definition of war. And I went to public school. Me too, Liz. Me too. I'm sorry. When you fly into a country in the middle of the night and start bombing civilians, like the poor schoolgirls who were murdered on the first night of bombing, you are at war. The fact that we're even having the debate about whether this is war or not, I mean, that comes down to the semantics of it, because there's the war times resolution and Congress has to get involved in all those things. So they are playing semantics, because if they say we're at war, then they have to admit they didn't get Congress's approval, which is a problem. So I know what they're doing, but it sucks. Tina says, I'm starting to think that the Epstein Files are a distraction for all the shit this goon filled with felons administration is doing to this country. Agreed. He needs a new something's off sticker. Yeah, maybe that will make him happy. Maybe he'll stop some wars if we give him some stickers. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe some gold star stickers. Oh yeah, this is good. So Chris, one of the things that's been really bothering me this week is this today, even Carolyn Levitt said something along the lines of, for his entire life, this president has been talking about war with Iran and taking care of them and wiping them out and blah, blah, blah. But I think you and I and everybody else remembers from the campaign trail from 2024, when he stood up and said, no new wars. And he also said, if you vote Kamala Harris, she's going to start a war with Iran. Like, what are we doing? They think that we're dumb. They at least think their own base is dumb, which is the sad part to me. And I'm not saying that as hyperbole. I'm saying that because Trump said, I like them dumb. I like them uneducated. So, yeah. So this is what we were talking about with Marti. At this point, I'm realizing that everything that he says is projection. So if he's saying something, if he's blaming someone else for something, it means he's already done it. That's my take on it. This is interesting. Rhonda said it's about China. How many sleeper cells have been let into this country? What if Intel said they were about to strike? I don't think that, I mean, there may be sleeper cells from China, Rhonda, but what they have been cautioning us about and warning us about is that there are sleeper cells from Iran inside this country. But to me, in my opinion, it feels like when they say things like that, they just are using that to break more laws and take away more rights because they're trying to scare us. Kayla says he will never be forgiven for his dishonorable. For this, it's dishonorable, and we will have to pay for the treachery of this administration. I agree with you on that. The felon in chief will sacrifice anyone and everyone to save himself. Let's see. If they had pedo stuff on Trump, why wouldn't they use it before the election? They did have pedo stuff on Trump. And one of the reasons why they didn't use it before the election is because there was an ongoing case within the DOJ and they are not allowed to talk about their ongoing cases, which would have been the Epstein Files because of Ghislaine Maxwell. As we were saying before, Rhonda, when I was talking to Marti, in 2019, when the Justice Department, the state of New Mexico was trying to investigate Zora Ranch, which was Jeffrey Epstein's ranch. Now, in 2019, this is when the Trump administration was in power, and Trump's DOJ, the head of the DOJ being Bill Barr, the Attorney General, went into New Mexico and told them they had to shut down the investigation. So I agree that many administrations could have been looking into this. I think that the fear, which is what we were talking about before, is that if they were to expose everything in the Epstein Files, that it would make the world burn down. So I think that was the initial fear. And then also there were probably Democrats who were like, no, because we don't want, the Democrats to get in trouble, which is bullshit. I don't agree with that. But now in 2019, when Jeffrey Epstein was actually in prison, the investigation into Zora Ranch was shut down by Trump's DOJ. And then suddenly Jeffrey Epstein was dead in his cell. And we don't know what happened. So I understand the question they would love to use it, but they couldn't. And also, Trump's DOJ shut down the first investigation into Zora Ranch, and then Merrick Garland sat on it and didn't do what he should have done in Biden's administration. Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying just before. Jess said a rumor that Iran is going to release incriminating videos of Trump. I hope they do. I mean, this is getting out of control. Somebody needs to release these files in their entirety, and we need to understand what these powerful men and some women have been doing to pull the strings and pull the levers of our lives for decades. I just turned 50. This has been going on for most of my life. So there have been a lot of struggles in this country and around the globe. And if those struggles were a result of people trying to hide what the powerful men in power were doing, yeah, the world might implode a little bit. But I think that we have to sort of be more like phoenixes. We got to get out of these ashes. You know what I'm saying? Yes, please smash the like button. It helps the algorithm. And since I'm a newer show, that would really help me out. Thanks, Chris. Oh, this is interesting. This is an interesting take, Jelly. Jelly Tot says, I am UK and I believe Trump was upset with the UK as we have a lollipop PM who is trying to vote. I don't know what that means. Let me know. Sam said, this is a treat, Mel. Thanks for doing it. Of course. Yeah, I'm going to be doing it every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So come and join me. Let's see. Journeys of Peace. I agree. Iran can totally knock out my debt. I'm fine with that. Also, Iranian scientists were literally working in Oak Ridge, Tennessee before the Ayatollah came in. My stepdad worked in personnel. Very interesting. What an interesting story. Of course, I'm happy that you guys are all here. I'm happy to give you this space. Talk it out. This is what we're trying to, like mainstream media, they do what they can, but they are owned by corporations. They are owned by these same powerful men, some of them who are in the Epstein Files. I feel like we need a place to be able to talk about what's really happening, or at least what we understand to be happening. And again, I am hoping for the audience who's listening to this and the audience who's in the chat, I would like to get some voices on the show who don't agree with me. Like Rhonda, it seems like some stuff we don't agree on. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're able to talk about it. So if you guys have any guest suggestions, please let me know. Even if it's like your uncle or your cousin, I'll have them on. I want to talk to people. I want to understand where they're coming from. Okay, let's see. Oh, Candace. Berkshire BS Litchfield. Cunty liars. I know it's not cunty liars, but I know that you come from our Something's Off crowd, and I love your screen name. I used to think Candace was nuts, but now let's just say I agree with both of you. War criminals for sure. Tucker Huckabee interview is a must hear see. I agree. Candace is nuts. But even like a nutty squirrel gets a good nut every once in a while, if you know what I mean. And that is not a saying. I just literally just made that up. What I'm trying to say is, I sat down and I tried to listen to Candace's, the intro to the documentary that she just did, or documentary, I use that in quotes, I use it very loosely, about Erica Kirk, I think it's called Charlie's Bride or something like that. Like it's like a horror film landscape. And I couldn't get through the intro because some of the shit that she was saying was just so batty that I couldn't get through it. So it's difficult to listen to her. She's talking about, she brings all of her own ideas and politics into it, which is totally fine. She's allowed to do that. But I do believe that she is unearthing some stuff. She might be doing it in a crazy way. She might be, in conspiracy land that is just too far gone. But there are some facts in there. There are some pieces of information in there that do stick. And I think that we have to sort of pay attention. Yay, Anna, I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Interesting. From the UK, some people like and follow Tommy Robinson, like TB for us. So Turtle Boy, for those of you who are here from Something's Off, don't judge until you listen more than once. I think that a diversity of voices is really important. I think that disingenuous voices, that's where I have to draw the line. I think that people who are trying to tell the truth and get the truth out there, there's something to that, and I appreciate it. Let's see. In normal times, yeah, Jess says, in normal times, the POTUS doesn't tell the DOJ what to do. Certainly not via tweet, which he's been doing. And then to watch the DOJ, watch the attorney general, the head of the DOJ, hop to and do whatever the president wants them to do. I'm sickened by it. Let's see. Let's see. Would you have Turtle Boy on, Amanda? Hey, Amanda. Hello, lovely. You've been in 2 of our lives today. I hope you're feeling well. I hope that everything's going well for you. And again, Amanda has been responsible for in our Something's Off show for doing all of our chapters in the descriptions. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So just everybody say thank you to Amanda for that. Her question is, would you have Turtle Boy on, or do you think it would be too counterproductive? I'd love to hear you put him on the spot with some hard questions. So yes, absolutely. Rebecca and I have had Turtle Boy on before. So we had him on the readathon, and I did ask him some hard questions. I basically was like, why are you such a dumbass? Why would you stand in front of Chris Albert's window and do the stupid shit that you did on camera? And he was basically like, listen, I had too many sangrias. And I was like, okay, fair. But yes, I would love to talk to, I'd love to have Turtle Boy on. I think that probably will happen in the near future. Someone had asked if I would have Jess Machado on. I'm really torn on that. I think Jess and I could have a debate, but I am really personally offended by the video that I saw of her with her husband in the kitchen when he said, I can't breathe, and she made fun of George Floyd. That was going too far for me, and I don't know if I can have a genuine debate, a good faith debate with somebody who can so easily say something like that out of their mouth hole. So I'm still thinking about it. Everyone wants me to do it, but I'm not sure yet. Jesse, we are talking about Candace Owens, who was Charlie Kirk's best friend, who is a little unhinged conspiracy theorist who has been very supportive of MAGA for most of the time, but is now sort of turning. Once Charlie was shot, she believes that the government and Erica Kirk had something to do with it. Erica Kirk was Charlie Kirk's wife, is Charlie Kirk's wife. So that's who we were talking about there. Let's see. Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Mel. I will come on because I think we have more in common than not, but maybe can give another perspective. Yeah, perhaps, Rhonda. I mean, like, let's keep going let's keep talking it out in the chat for a while and see how it goes. I think that having a difference of opinion is totally fine, and we should have differences of opinion in this country, and we should be able to talk about those without attacking everyone. So let's keep talking it out in chat, and we will see how the show goes down the road. But the Dow, Josh, I know, brother. I know. But the Dow dropped, and it's like, can we talk about the Epstein Files now? We're talking about what Pam Bondi said in her trial. Again, I want to reiterate, just before we came on tonight, I found out that the House, I don't remember which committee it was, House Judiciary, I think, they voted, and Nancy Mace, who has been MAGA for a very long time on the Republican side, was the one who called for a vote to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi, and they voted to do it. I was shocked, but it's happening. Well, who knows if she'll show up, but anyway. Let's see. Everyone's saying thanks, Amanda. Amanda's awesome. Jess is a bad faith actor. Agreed. Some folks, Amanda says, some folks just want to hear themselves argue. Some stuff isn't productive. Oh no, is this true? Rage Knitter says, and I'm assuming that you're talking about Jess Machado, that she believes Macron's wife is a man. Stop it. What is wrong with these people? Lindsay, what would happen if someone was on the show and said horrendous things and didn't respect this platform? How do you think you would handle it? Well, I would hold them to account. I would call them out, and I would probably kick them out. If they they can say horrendous things. Well, actually, before I say that I would kick them out, Lindsay, tell me what you mean by horrendous things. If they were attacking me or attacking one of my guests, then yeah, I would kick them out. If they're saying horrendous things, I would debate them and I would try to show everyone else in the audience what they are saying is ludicrous. But that's really the only thing I know to do, is to talk these things out. If somebody is giving me a circular argument or whataboutism or gaslighting me, I feel comfortable enough to call them out on it. But if they're saying horrendous things like the Nazis were right, or making jokes about George Floyd, or talking about trans people, I don't really feel the need to go there with anybody. And I don't, and I would set them straight if I could. And then if it didn't work, I'd kick them out. Let's see. Chris says, okay, Josh, I'm fine with the world burning down because the Dow. Thanks for reminding me. No, Candace. There is no value to platforming bigotry. Yeah, like somebody who I would never ever have on my show is Nick Fuentes, for instance. I'm not sure if you know who Nick Fuentes is. He is a self-avowed incel, was totally MAGA. I think he's starting to turn a little bit, but who knows if that's just like because he sees the tides turning and wants to keep making money. He is a podcaster. He is responsible for the group The Groypers, who are, from what I understand, just like sort of a group of incels who have now taken a stand and refuse to have sex with women, which is hilarious to me. And who think that women need to get in the kitchen and women's voting rights need to be taken away and that trans people should be killed and, all these crazy ass things. And that he's a Nazi. And I'm not calling him a Nazi because I think he's a Nazi. He calls himself a Nazi. So I would never have someone on the show like that. Somebody who can engage in thoughtful, honest, genuine debate, I'm happy to have on the show, but I would never have someone like Nick Fuentes on. Let's see. All right. Okay, guys, we are going to start wrapping it up here. I really appreciate you coming in. I wish we could have had Marti for a little bit longer. I think they will come back because I love them and I think they're amazing. I would love to have Marti on with Ellen. I think that would be a blast, Ellen Marsh. But for now, I appreciate you all so much. If you like the work that I'm doing, please leave me a tip. You can tip me here at the QR code right above or down here. There is the Venmo and the Cash App. I know that times are tough right now. We are all struggling a little bit financially. So if you can't do a tip, totally understandable. But if you would please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell other people about it. I'd love to get this off the ground. I really want to have these amazing debates with people, especially with people who don't agree with me. So please tell everybody about the show. I will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. And let me see, before I leave, let me tell you who my guests are going to be. Let's see. Next week. Oh, yes. I'm very excited about this one. So next week, I am going to have Sarah and Marion from Crime Scene podcast. Sarah is in Australia and Mari is here with me in DC. So we're going to have sort of a little bit more international input, which I'm really excited about. These two women are incredibly talented, really funny, so smart. Please go listen to their shows. Crime Scene podcast. Let me see if I can put it up. Hold on a second. Crime Scene. Let me know if I am freezing up on you guys. I got a second monitor, so I wouldn't, but who knows? Here we go. Crime Scene. Let me share this screen with y'all. So yeah, we're going to have Sarah and Mari on next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. And in the meantime, if you want to know a little bit more about who they are, go check them out. They have great recap podcasts. They have a bunch of podcasts. It's not just crime related. They both do a bunch of podcasts. But you can listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. And they cover true crime like we do on Something's Off. Rebecca and I have both been on the show talking about Karen Reed, talking about a bunch of other things. But they're lovely, lovely, lovely human beings. And I'm so happy to have them on next week. So I hope you'll join us. Oh, I froze, huh? There it is. Yeah. I went and did my little tab thing. So when I freeze, can you guys still hear me? That's something I want to know. Oh, wait. What, Kayla, is this new? Did you just hear this? The Senate voted to sustain the war. Is that real? Hold on. Oh, no. Is this real? Tell me it's not real. I mean, I trust you, but I just want to know. Ugh, it's annoying. Senate war. Senate Republicans just blocked our bipartisan war powers resolution to rein in Trump's illegal war of choice against Iran. They chose fealty to Trump over our troops' lives. That is from Senator Tammy Duckworth. This also happened today. I meant to talk about this when Marty was on, but we didn't get enough time. This is something Marty shared with me right before we came on, but let me see. So this happened today. I think it happened in the Senate. Let's see. Former Marine Sergeant Brian McGinnis stood up during a Senate Armed Service Subcommittee hearing to voice opposition to a potential war with Iran, saying many Americans do not want the United States drawn into another conflict. Moments later, U.S. Capitol Police moved in and forcibly removed him from the chamber as the disruption unfolded. During the removal, McGinnis claims his arm was broken. Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana was also seen assisting as officers escorted the anti-war protester out of the hearing. McGinnis was an activist and Green Party candidate running for U.S. Senate in North Carolina. He has been outspoken against the possibility of a broader conflict in the Middle East. The incident is now gaining significant attention online as veterans and anti-war activists react to the confrontation at the Capitol.
A sitting U.S. Senator just broke the hand.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Despicable.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. This is wrong. And nobody wants to fight for Israel.
This is a veteran.
Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America.
His arm is stuck in the
No
door.
one wants to fight for Israel.
Why is a senator helping them?
No
Why?
one wants to fight for
Despicable.
Israel.
His hand. Oh, his hand.
Despicable.
Let go of your hand.
I think we've seen enough of that. That happened today as well. I was wholly disgusted when Marty shared that with me. A sitting senator, or I'm sorry, a sitting congressperson did that to a veteran who was protesting. What are we doing? What are we doing in this country right now? I have a question for those of you who just told me about the Senate voting. Do we know if any Democrats vote? I mean, I assume Democrats voted with them. Do we know what the count was? I guess I can look it up over here. Let's see. I'm disgusted right now. Sorry, guys. Senate numbers breakdown on Iran. Wow. Yeah, of course, John Fetterman. Wow. 47-53, largely party lines. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what we're going to do here, but we got to keep fighting. That's all I know. And I hope that you all can do small things for yourselves and your family and your community. And I hope that we can claw our way out of this. I think that one of the things that we're going to have to do is vote like we've never voted before in November. Because we are failing right now. Yep, actually, Kayla just said that. We are a failed state. Agreed. Yeah, they get really angry, Lindsay, when people stand up and exercise their First Amendment rights. They get very angry and they resort to violence. We've been seeing it a lot in the past year, which is interesting to me because they said that all the January 6th protesters were just standing up and, First Amendment, yada, yada, and that there wasn't a violent protest. They were just, peacefully protesting. So the rhetoric is just, it's out of control. Anyway, on that note, please take care of yourselves. Please give your family and friends hugs. Please talk to the people who disagree with you. And I don't expect you to go out there and change anyone's minds, but if you can have an honest debate, you never know what someone will take away from that and what they might be thinking about later as they're falling asleep at night and thinking, maybe I was wrong about this, or maybe I should think about this differently. I think that too often we don't get in the room with people anymore and sit down face to face and talk. We talk anonymously behind a computer screen. And so it's easy to be angry and it's easy to stay in our corners. Let's try not to stay in our corners. Let's try being rational, having rational arguments, not allowing people to gaslight us, not allowing whataboutism and circular arguments. Just be honest in your debates, and I think that that is going to get us someplace. So keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up for your people, keep showing up for your neighbors, and if you have people in your life that maybe don't agree with you, invite them along to this show. Maybe they'll find something here. But I love you all. Please take care of yourselves. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching Newslight with Mel Barrett.